Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel where we do deep dives into the Old Testament, also the New Testament in our other channel. And we're in Genesis chapter 3, and previously in the previous video, God goes on to tell Abraham and his seed, he's going to be numerous. He's going to have as many kids as there are sand. It's a lot. And then he nonchalantly mentions how he's going to have so many seeds too from concubines. Like, that's just it's just strange because he has sex slaves and the handmaiden and all these other things. So who knows what that means? You can't tell if he's condoning it or not. It seems like he's condoning it because there's no punishment and it's spoken of so nonchalantly. And it goes on in this Genesis chapter 3 that Sarah, Abraham's wife, just dies of 127 years old in a town called Hebron. And it is really kind of the end of the whole chapter. And it says that, Abraham gets with his son Heth, and they find a burial place, and they get some permissions, and it's really not much to it. And if you can see, or if anybody has any different perspective, I'd enjoy knowing your comments, especially if they're kind comments. They bury Sarah in this town. Of course, I can't pronounce it, Machpelah, in a cave. And I was real curious if anybody knows, have any archaeologists ever found this place and the cave? I haven't been able to find anything credible on that, so that'd be interesting if anybody knows. And in chapter 24, verses 1 of Genesis, Jehovah goes on again to bless Abraham, quote, in all things. Can anybody tell me why that is? Because he's still a lying, deceitful guy. He allows punishments of innocent king and pharaohs for, selling his wife, getting her back, selling her for a bunch of money. Just strange behavior. Going to kill his son. And I mean, it's over the top. So I can't understand why it's Abraham. There's still no real solid reason to like this guy. So why does he, in verse 2 of Genesis of chapter 24, he asks his head servant to go out and find a wife for his son Isaac? But he says, in order to make this covenant and to make this agreement that the servant's going to do that, he asked the servant, "Put your hands between my thighs while you give me this oath." That seems somewhat perverted. I don't know. That was my immediate thought was, put your hands between my thighs. Okay. Strange. All right. So he does that, and he has a promise not to take a wife from where they are currently located in Canaan, but from his land. So for whatever reason, he needs a wife for his son Isaac to come from a very specific place. And that's interesting. And I think I'm going to point that out in just a few minutes as we go on in this video, because the servant questions, what if a wife doesn't want, to go with him? I'll go out and I find somebody, this person's perfect, so let's go. And what if she doesn't want to go? Then he says, well, if you've done everything you can to try to get her to go, then I will remove your oath, and no big deal. I'm not sure how that would play out with Noah, but okay. So he sets off to the city of Nahor, Nahor, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right, to fetch a wife. So the servant starts praying at this water well right outside of this city, where all the girls come to get water for their daily chores or for their family or what have you. And apparently there is still a difference between the offspring of the daughters of men and the sons of God, because he's talking about those two in this verses 3 through 13 in Genesis chapter 4. So are there still two species, as mentioned earlier back in Genesis chapter 6? Because he's clearly making distinctions between the daughters of men and then the sons of God. So that is really remarkable that they're continuing on with that narrative. Like there are two separate groups of people. So does that mean those other groups of people, this different gene type, is in this other land? So that's why he doesn't want Isaac's wife to come from that place, to make sure they are of the same species. I mean, that, if you just kind of use your common sense, that's what it's saying. So I don't know. Maybe somebody could make some comments, and I'd like to explore that. And if you like to explore ancient text and all sorts of other wonderful things, then you're at the right place. We continue to do that line by line, to digest the Bible as we go along. And we also touch on all the large amount of tools available to us for self-exploration, self-knowledge, walking the path of self-awareness and becoming enlightened to the best way we can. And we do that in the Mystics of Texas, our other YouTube channel. And we do that every Sunday at 1:15. And it is just a wonderful fellowship and group meditation, and just fantastic different practices. It's super family fun and friendly. Even if you don't have a family, if you're alone and you need a place to come, then come visit. We would really enjoy having you. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.